Our conditions sitting at majority bullish here on the SP 500 at 14 on the daily, 14 on the 1 hour time frame. We're up inside of this supply block now and pressing that upper level. Could see a breakout here on S&P 500 and give it a little bit more propulsion to the upside. Remember that we are at the upper end of that range over the last couple of years. This trend, but we may see some confirmation for more upside. We know that the breadth of the market currently is still relatively weak, sitting at that 50 range, but that could also be improving if we saw a move and S&P were to break out of these current levels and we saw some additional breadth moving with that trend. That could add to the confirmation of the move. We're seeing VIX, which is majority bearish here as well today, at least as of this moment. This certainly changes really quickly, but that is also aligned with bullish activity sitting around that 15-20 range. It can drop down, obviously, down into the 12s for some really bullish activity. This can get down into those lower levels, so we'll see if that happens, just trending that direction. SHY, the short end of the yield curve, seeing bearishness here on the price of bonds, both the short end of the yield curve, the long end of the yield curve, which is TLT, also bearish, and the corresponding rates there are going to be bullish. So the short end of the yield curve, 2-year treasuries, still moving bullishly in that upper momentum zone, 429 on the 2-year. 10-year pulled back a little bit yesterday and pulling back into that momentum location, that 236. We'll see if that trend continues here on the 2 and the 10. They are relatively paired right here at 429 and 450. So, still flat. This is the yield curve, and we still have a positive yield curve. Anything less than 0 is an inverted yield curve, but it's holding steady as of right now. Let's take a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Also some bullish price patterns here. We'll see if we can press the upper levels of some of these patterns and break out, meaning that this resistance area here, we can see a breakout. These are going to be all-time highs again for all markets, S&P 500, Dow, and the NASDAQ. NASDAQ starting that move really close to that 540 range to breaking out on the triple Qs. If we can break out of that, that's just showing breakout patterns are showing a demand pushing through certain levels where there may be a bunch of sellers lined up to sell here, and they're just more buyers and sellers and push that higher. That's what we want to see. We want the trend to show us where that demand is starting to show up and press, and so we'll see if that happens on the triple Qs today. The Russell 2000, those small cap names still having a little bit of weakness, but moving a little higher this morning. Still majority bullish, but 8 and 6. You can see the upper end of that trend relatively flat, but still the bottom end of the trend, those longer term trends are still in place. So it's just consolidating this upper range. We'll see if that holds up. So this is ultimately that longer term trend direction, and this is the consolidation of the shorter term trends, and that could set up here for some follow through if we can get the rest of the markets to also be breaking out. If we get Russell 2000 to confirm, and we get the breadth of the S&P to also improve, anything up above 50, we could see some legs to a rally here, at least in the shorter term. We also could see a move higher, and that creating a whole bunch of liquidity for sellers to come in. Remember, when you have a bunch of buyers coming in on a breakout, where else would there be a good place for a whole bunch of sellers that have big sell orders to come in? It's right at those breakout points as well, where all the buying liquidity is coming in. So when we get a breakout, that's why oftentimes breakouts fail, or you get a gap that moves higher and it immediately reverses, is because that creates more liquidity for sellers that are sitting on the sideline waiting for opportunities and just more liquidity to sell. We'll see if that's the case. We also have USO oil, which is sitting right at that 50% retracement. Really trying to find some support right here. We'll see if we get any follow through on USO today. Gold continuing its historic expansion here. We've got compression, we've got expansion on the 60-minute time frame. You can see that 1 hour time frame just really smooth and structured and moving higher, gapping higher almost every morning. And this daily time frame, I'd be watching for some kind of a retracement back to that 258 level on GLD. See if I can grab that low point, at least one of the most recent trend lows, and see where we're at. That pulls us back to that 253 range, which is essentially that breakout point, which could be a retracement location for GLD. SLV, which is ETF for silver, also bullish. Price activity here on silver. A couple of stock ideas to consider today. One is ADPT, which has got a nice solid confirmation bar in momentum. You can see it's bouncing at that momentum 236 location, that support area, and increasing volume. That is ADPT. Say that 10 times. PHR, also nice confirmation move here, and an increasing volume. Confirmation bars are, they're one of the things we want to watch for is we want to see that pricing bar moving above several different levels, ideally. Ideally, the most recent price activity that was surrounding the bar is, again, this means that we've had buyers pushing through any of the selling demand that or selling supply that was in these locations. So you get a good confirmation bar. Ideally, it's happening on bigger volume and it's pushing through a level of some kind. In this case, kind of covering up where those levels are. It's kind of peaking up, and then a good true breakout is going to be when we close and break out above some of those most recent highs. We'll see if we get any kind of follow through on PHR today. That'll do it for today's update. Everyone have a fantastic day today.